Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the IR4 podcast. Jeremy Alexander Newsom, Brian Masterson. Our guest today is Scott Johnson here back in Nashville. Last time we saw you guys, we were in the car. It was cold. It was snowy. Hollywood and LA were beautiful, but we're back now. With that being said, happy to get involved with this conversation today about data, data storage, big data, what we're going to do. So Scott, tell us a little bit about your company and what you guys do. It's a tongue twister. Consolidated data. Consolidated data.
Good try.
You're better at it than I am.
Yeah, good try. I'm just a personal consultant to Fortune 200 companies. And what we do is we just try to figure out what is the end customer experience needed to make a business. So on the back end of that is a lot of data.
Right.
Yeah, tons.
So when you say end customer, is that end customer for that specific company, or the end user in this case is the actual company?
Both.
Okay.
Oh,
It's
wow.
both.
okay.
All
Yeah,
right.
so let's say you're an insurance company.
Okay.
You've got a lot of data on the back end. You got to manage that, and you got to make all your people be able to work efficiently and effectively. At the same time, you've got customers that are calling in. They have to have a good experience too.
Right.
So you have to manage all that data, and it's moving all the time.
Wow. Do you see a lot of your clientele being more in healthcare since we are in Nashville? Do you see a lot of healthcare companies, or is it a wide range of industries?
No, it's everywhere.
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 And as far as the amount of data, since we are having cloud solutions and data center solutions, is it too much now? Are we just having too much data overload? Like, or is there ways to decipher through that, or that's not even is that even your responsibility?
Well, it's not my responsibility, but it's happening.
Yeah.
So what I'm finding is some companies are really good at managing their own IT environment
Mm-hmm.
and their customer-facing environment,
Okay.
and some companies aren't. And the ones that are not good at it, or overexposed, or overextended, I'm seeing a big change to where they're going to the cloud.
Okay.
So cloud providers can offer services, and they can manage data, they can manage people, they can manage communication. Aren't.
That makes
Wow.
sense. Do you find yourself as a consultant for those companies, do you find yourself doing more cloud data or actual physical hardware store? Or is that
That's a complicated question.
Articulate, Jeremy. Articulate.
Well, so I mean, I'm a newbie when it comes to data. I know a few like system architects and engineers where they're actually building the mainframes that house the data, right? So I mean, the data has to be stored somewhere. So with your customers, do you have like a central location you're storing everything, or do you just help them show where to store it and how and what's safe? Or do you do both?
All the above.
All the above. I like it. Okay, one-stop shop.
Yeah.
So one thing that I think companies are starting to discover is if you put your data, your physical data, think of it as, a car in a gas tank.
Mm-hmm.
It's half full, it's half full. You put it somewhere, if it's all the way full, you put it somewhere. There's a different charge for the amount of data that you store somewhere.
Sure.
So they don't mind storing it, but if you want to take it back and move it somewhere else, they charge you.
Oh, I bet.
So Amazon, so AWS, Azure, all those people, what I'm finding these days, people are wanting to, small companies, Fortune 50 companies, they're trying to find ways to take the data and be able to move it around without being charged.
And what's the incentive behind? Why would they want to move it around? Just to
security or privacy?
Or is it to cut costs? Well, obviously it's not cutting costs now. It's going to be more expensive. They're trying to move it everywhere. So why would you want to move it from one to another?
there's different reasons. Some is security.
Okay.
Some is, let's say, Amazon gets hacked.
Mm-hmm.
You want your data out
Right.
fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like Equifax, the whole Equifax breach,
That was a big one.
huge, and Home Depot and Target and shit, it's all over.
There's a big list. There's a big
I'm
list.
actually, when I found out about the Equifax hacks, you could go in and type in like, the last 3 of your social. There's like this website that said if you got hacked or not, and it said my information has been. If that happened, you could go to this law firm in California. I forget the name of it, but I'm actually listed on that class action lawsuit against. Now my payout will probably be like $1,200 or something, but still.
1,200, you would hope.
Yes,
It's like
I
that
would-
much.
Well,
You gonna cut me a check?
Oh, you wish.
if there
You wish.
No. I think the suit was for like 1 point some billion dollars, and
Yeah.
only 20. I think I did the percentages, but if like 25% of the 100% got hacked, 20 million people, the payout would have been good. But who knows? That's whole corporate law, and that's gonna be a whole different podcast.
A whole
Maybe
different
we'll go
podcast. Whole different podcast.
Well, I've got 2 daughters, and when they were in junior high school, junior high school, or Williamson County,
And
whatever.
What?
and was it like
And they're like, here's a year's worth of, some kind of phone-in protection.
Yeah.
I forget
that was
what
it.
was.
But still, like, I mean, just think of like the cypherpunks or the people who. Well, if it was a kid who broke into the database, and could change his grades and stuff.
Yeah.
So
It's possible.
So, what are some good security practices for cloud data? Not cloud data, big data. I'm sorry, big data.
Oh, well, it's 2 different things.
Okay. Well, let's start with cloud data. What are some good security practices?
Usually, if you have any kind of data stored in the cloud, whoever that is going to have some kind of security
Mm-hmm.
mechanism. And usually that's another line item and you pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only as good as it is.
Right.
So if they have it, they have it. You buy it, you buy it. If you want to go source your own and dedicate personnel and
Yeah.
resources to fund it, you're not going to do any better. So
So it is beneficial for people to be hiring consultants such as yourself to come in here and say, "Hey, listen, Scott, what the hell are we doing with all? We're compiling all this. We're uploading documents, whatever it is. Where do we store it? How do we have access to it that's cost effective? And how do we secure it? You're providing all those bullet points. You're helping.
Right on. As a quick warning, we just found out that Brian has 5 cups of coffee. So
If I'm talking fast,
if you're talking fast, go to that bar and just go back. 'cause-
click the slow down button on the YouTube.
So I want to ask you, Scott, we're getting into it. We're diving deep. I want to know what's the future of data storage, big data, cloud, cloud computing, cloud storage. Where's that going? Where are they trying to accomplish?
Well, why don't we start where it started?
Okay, perfect. Sure.
So, companies started growing, data started growing. They had to buy more servers, they had to buy more storage. Things progressed. The chief financial officer started noticing that, hey, my electricity rate is going up.
Mm-hmm.
And we're having to cool stuff that we didn't know we had to cool.
Good point.
So then people said, hey, let's, put our data somewhere else. Let's do our processing somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make it available to everybody. If we have a snowstorm or what have you, then our data's still up.
Yeah.
And if our people can't show up tomorrow because 8 feet of snow, Boston, our stuff is still running somewhere else, and somebody else is taking care of it.
What year? About what time? Year was it?
Like that's
Okay.
when it
I was
started.
going to say late 90s.
So like 90s, yeah.
98. 98 was 20 years ago.
I know, it's crazy.
Woo!
Isn't that crazy?
Unbelievable.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Tell me about that in college cost for daughters. Anyway, in the last 5 years, we've seen just explosion.
Yeah.
Everybody's wanting to do stuff with the cloud. I'm talking to CIOs all over the place, and they're all talking about, hey, I don't put something in the cloud and be able to publish it. It means I'm behind the times.
Wow.
So CFOs are kind of, CIOs, CFOs, they're kind of worried about their reputation.
Yeah.
If they don't put something in the cloud,
Yeah,
they're behind the times.
Now, I'm going to ask you a real dumb question, because earlier you mentioned AWS when we were off campus, so one of your favorite cloud computing. That's Amazon Web Services.
Correct.
So Amazon Web Services, they're owned by Amazon? So I didn't even know Amazon did. They do their own cloud storing for other companies? Wow, I had no clue.
The world's largest. Yes.
Wow. I had no idea. You
That's
got to
where
learn
they
something
make
new
their
every
most-
day.
That's where they make their most revenue.
Really?
Microsoft is
What?
Azure,
Yeah.
and they do the same thing.
Well, why do they have different names? Like, what's the point of that? Or do they want that?
No, they're different companies.
It's just totally different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally separate.
Man.
But what's really cool, there's some new technology coming out, which I told you in the previous segment that if you put your data in one of these places,
Mhm.
Azure or AWS, they like it and
Yeah.
they charge it.
Yeah.
If you want to take it out,
Yep.
there's huge.
Right.
So there's other technologies that are out today where you can move it between your own data center, another data center,
Mm-hmm.
and you can move it back and forth in between. There's a new up and coming practice from companies where put data in a data center street, private data center,
Mm.
and use the processing
Mm-hmm.
of
Ah.
Azure or AWS, but the data is here. So you don't have to move it back and pay them.
Sure. That's
Interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, man, I got so many questions. Keep going. Keep going.
well,
This is good.
I wanted to. We don't need to go down a conspiracy rabbit hole, here, but
Not yet.
one of the biggest data centers in the world was the NSA's data center.
Could be.
I didn't know if you would know or not, but
I used to have a top secret clearance and worked at Lockheed. So
Yeah.
you were at Lockheed Martin.
No, so
Okay,
there sounds like some things you can't tell us.
okay,
Calm
but
down.
and
but
some things I can't tell you.
Yeah.
sure. But I was going to ask is how much of our personal information is being stored by these companies, Facebook, let's say, or Instagram, or even Google Chrome browser, and who is capturing all that data? And if it is the privatized or one of the public companies such as Google or Facebook, is that data being sold to, say, the government?
I don't think I know the answer to that.
No? Okay.
I mean, if you type anything in on a browser, anything at all, and hit the enter button, whatever that was, that's out there.
And that's recorded somewhere.
And everybody can.
Have you seen any, obviously information's power, data's information. Is there anyone who is like a data broker? So let's say you're consulting a business who has a lot of information that I'm another business I would like to purchase. Is there someone who can broker that deal to say, hey, Brian's company wants company X's information, can he purchase it?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that was my other question is what kind of data is sold the most in your opinion? Because I mean, really, companies the most frequent I would say sold data is email address.
So previous companies I have worked for, they subscribe to different data information sources.
Uh-huh.
Pay a monthly fee. You log in and you say, hey, I want to sell something this company. It can be a 50 company. It can be $2,000 startup.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy that.
Mm.
You
Wow.
get name, you get a phone number, email address, and it's out there, locked down. And the reason, or not the reason, but the accuracy of it is because some companies are just the nature of the company, what they're in business for, is selling information.
Mm.
And
Wow.
they will go and they'll find out, and they'll make phone calls, and they'll find out who's hiring, who they're hiring for, what kind of people they're looking for, and everything.
Sure.
You get everything.
Wow,
Email, phone number, address, you name
that's crazy.
it. No, it's an everyday practice.
So, a potential ignorant question. Do companies like Twitter, Snapchat, the big companies, do they house their own data or do they outsource it? Like Google, for example. I mean, does Google do its own data? I'm assuming they do. Or do they do all of it and they parcel some of it out? Like they're like, we don't want the video data, we're going to send that over here.
We're getting into an area to where I really don't want to respond.
Sure. That's fair. That's fair. You can plead the fifth. That's okay.
All right, let Scott,
That's
you
fair.
grab an inch, and if we need to cut this next question out, we can. I didn't know how sensitive this was, but we've talked before off camera at prior dates about turning empty mall space, given the disruption of retail,
Right.
into data centers.
Yep.
Whoa.
Whoa. Yeah, is that a new common practice, or how new is that? Can you tell us a little bit more about the advancement of what they're trying to do?
Can we not talk about that one either?
We can't talk about no problem. No problem.
That's fair. Cool concept.
Yeah.
Very cool concept.
All right. Well, how about the disruption of blockchain technology?
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah. I don't know, that's my wheelhouse, so I can go on and on about blockchain technology. Perfect.
But re-ask your question to me, because we took a quick second break.
Talking about big data and the stocks of these companies. Like,
I mentioned the word stocks, so I hopped in.
yeah, I know this is your shit.
I'm ready.
Is that your thing?
That's my thing. I'm ready.
So if you look at the triangle chart with the strength and resistance and all this other lines, no, I'm just kidding. But you look at okay, why is Google worth what it is?
Why is
and
Facebook
why is
worth
the stock why is the stock move up or down pending? I mean, listen, I'm a math guy, right? So I put formulas to everything that I'm calculating, and I know that there's a factor inside those formulas, which is data.
Sure.
But how big is that factor?
Well, so I'm going to talk from a non-professional, and you can answer or not, or jump in if you want to. But here's my opinion of watching some random internet videos. Facebook, they absolutely collect data. There's zero question. And Facebook owns, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp.
And Google owns YouTube.
And Google, obviously everyone knows Google owns YouTube. But those three alone right there have 50% of the world's information. So we're talking not only their address and their birthday.
Pictures.
But we're talking about what they like to wear. So you have images that are going through their clothes and go, what kind of color clothes?
What they liked.
What they like, what kind of food they like, what videos they like. If you have a bunch of cat videos, guess what kind of advertisements you're going to get?
Well, sure, yeah.
Cat-related things.
Yeah.
Right? If you're liking a bunch of beer videos, you're going to get beer-related advertisements.
Yeah.
But that's huge to marketers, because what we're talking about is big data companies. They store data. That's all Facebook is like a data centralization. And they say, oh, look, all that information I got. Hello, Walmart. Would you like 1 million people who liked your own videos?
Yeah.
And they send that to Walmart. Walmart's like, yes, please.
And then guess what? Walmart buys that data,
Yes.
reads the data, and then goes back to Facebook and pays them more to market on.
That's why their stock goes higher. And that's why it's going to continue to go higher. Because they have accidentally, what Zuckerberg did is he landed on a goal.
He accidentally.
He did not do this on purpose.
Right.
He did
was
not.
training a social
No,
network. And
I don't think he did. I think he went for social networks so that, hey, we can hang out and have study groups. And he thought maybe the universities will pay me, and then we'll have gatherings, and we'll do bake sales or whatever.
Create something cool.
Bake sales.
They won
Bake sales.
study hall.
Yeah.
But he didn't, at least, maybe he did, I don't know. But I'm assuming he didn't go, you know what, there's going to be 3 billion people on this thing. I'm going to have all of their data, and I'm going to sell it to all of these companies.
Sure.
Data is
But he
valuable.
did.
But he did. Valuable. Data is valuable. That's very valuable.
It is.
How do we protect it? Is there a way that we can protect our data?
Well,
Or just not getting the internet?
like I told you, I got 2 girls in college, and you have no idea how much mail I get. How did I get it?
What databases are they on?
How did I get it?
Oh my goodness.
Why is it showing up in my mailbox?
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody's got it.
Someone's got it, man. You're on some kind of buying registry or phone number registry, and they know your habits. What's that name of that company? Nielsen TV, right? Remember that?
Not only that, but they called me twice last week and sent me a letter.
What's Nielsen TV? I don't know.
Tell about this. Tell about this. You'll think this is interesting.
No, they do. They just interview people and they gather data.
Yeah.
And they share it.
Yeah.
It's almost like a telemarketer, but for information. Like, hey, we're just acquiring information. Hey, what color do you like? Blue. Okay. Next question.
Do you like fig Newtons?
Obviously, do you like fig Newtons?
I haven't even heard the word.
Neither have I.
In a long
Fig
time.
Newtons. Fig Newton's stock is going down. Record this data. Fig Newton's stock is going. It was like Nabisco. Yeah.
Hey, you knew that. Good job.
Yeah.
Talk about conglomerates, man. Conglomerates.
Oh
Are
my God! Right.
all the food companies. Who owns what?
All right.
Well, the reason I brought up.
Okay, go on.
Do we have a direction?
No, the reason I
I'm
brought
still
up
on
Nielsen
mine.
TV is because they do. That's what they did. They collect data, but they did it like on like notebooks and paper. They would figure out like what TV services. I mean, think about it. Like if a bunch of people watch one particular channel, that channel becomes more valuable, right? Advertisers can sell, and they want to know how many eyeballs are watching it. They were the initial creator of let me get data and sell it to advertisers. They were the first ones. That's the reason I was bringing that up.
Okay. Thinking from, and I have not forgotten about my blockchain direction, but before we go there, thinking from a macro standpoint, Encyclopedia and all the written scrolls, those are technically databases. Would you not say that the internet is probably the biggest database in existence?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
So, given, and this we can keep this very surface, given with the advancement of artificial intelligence and perhaps robots, with the access to the biggest database known to human, don't you think that those robots can accelerate at a quicker rate than our intellectual capability?
Wow.
Pin drop.
That's the biggest question I've ever been asked.
Singularity.
That's why I love this guy, man. I think the third time I met him in my life, he was like, "Where do we go when we dream? Where's our consciousness?" Like, wow, bro.
All right, so
Jeez.
So
I mean,
when I
should
worked for the military, we had a place that was called supercomputing, and we would do simulation. So we would say, we throw these many planes, these many ships, this many, people on the ground with guns.
Mm-hmm.
What are the chances? And, if it didn't turn out right, we'd run it back and see what the chances were. And when it turned out positive, it went up to the government.
Yep, there's your solution.
And they said, do we do it or do we not?
And guess
it
what?
goes in front of the president.
It all comes down to math.
And it was all computing.
Scott, how'd you get in that world, man? Like, what was your background in that? Like, give me, like, you're 13, and you're going into the 20s. Like, where did you get that brain?
My dad was a NASA engineer. You ever heard of the moon buggy?
The
moon buggy.
Like the rover?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad was in charge of putting that in the Saturn V, putting it on the moon.
Wow, that's cool.
That's phenomenal.
There's 5 of them on the moon if you want one.
Right? Oh, they're just up there.
They left them.
What? Oh my! Are they still sending data back, or no? Are they just obsolete?
No, they're just hanging out.
They're hanging out. They're not going anywhere.
They don't have keys
As far
either.
as you know.
You can just go push the gas
Start
pedal and it goes.
You know what? I'm glad you told me that because my brain never thought. I wonder if they actually had the turn and key for the Mars rover.
Well, now you
It was
know.
like now you know. They don't. Why would they? Who's going to go there and steal it?
Well, so let me back up. So my mom taught piano.
Yeah.
My dad played steel guitar. I play guitar. My brother plays drums. And when I moved to Nashville, I quickly figured out if you can't write a song, no one wants to talk to you.
Right.
Yeah.
So I worked with a couple guys around town and almost got a publishing deal. I didn't, but I always wanted to write a song about my dad being a Alabama redneck. What does he do? He puts a 4-wheel drive on the moon, and
This would be a
the
great
only
song.
thing lacking was the keg on the back.
If you could have put booze though, let's be honest.
Oh
You would
man.
have figured out a way. I like that. So that that was kind of your background. Did you go into mathematics in school? Did you go down that route, or did you go
Computer
down
science.
computer science? Things? Okay.
University of Alabama in Huntsville.
Okay.
UAH, which stands for University at Home.
University.
What is it? Am I thinking Birmingham or Huntsville where they have the rockets?
That's Huntsville.
Huntsville.
Big time.
Yeah. And what did they specifically do in Huntsville? NASA. It's NASA, correct? They were working out of Huntsville? They built...
Well, there's a lot of stuff in Huntsville, but yeah. Way back when, yeah.
They were building the rockets or the shuttle?
No, they're building rockets.
The rockets.
So they do a lot of military too.
What's your opinion of Falcon 9?
I don't really
Tesla,
have one.
SpaceX. You don't have an opinion?
If
Do you like it?
that's-
Here's a better question. Do you like it or not?
If that's the way that the U.S. can, do exploration and get back, fine.
Okay.
I mean, the shuttle,
No.
that thing is falling apart.
Yeah.
So,
They have to be innovation in that. I mean, really, the rocket space has only been around for 60 years, at best. So, we have a lot of innovation. And Elon Musk is doing a phenomenal job. I mean, who would have thought? He's like, I'm going to do SpaceX now. PayPal, Tesla, SpaceX, no big deal.
There's on Interstate 90 or 80 in upstate New York. I drive it quite a bit. Lockheed Martin was over there. And there is in the Finger Lakes, they're like 800 feet deep, not 500 feet. But I think in Lake Skinny Atlas, they have like this island. And they would test sonar in that island. I'm just referencing Lockheed Martin.
You're just things.
Am I tangent line?
No, whatever. Things you
Let's
know.
get back on topic. All right. How's blockchain disrupting big data? Brian's just so off topic today.
Five cups of coffee, man. Pull it back some.
Okay.
We went big data to military sonars in Lake Skinny. So
Skinny Atlas. Or we can talk about... No, we won't go into aliens.
But so we're gonna wait on the aliens. We're gonna pass on that.
Scott, what's your opinion? We talk. So our listeners, obviously, they like the way we. Hopefully, they like the way we analyze stocks but looking at cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology for sure. The solutions that provides. How is that disrupting your field, or are you starting to integrate blockchain solutions in your business?
I think it's a little early for me to make that statement, but what I have noticed is there's quite a bit of activity. A lot of people are looking into it more. I mean, banks have started adopting it.
Mm-hmm.
There's been companies that came out of the earth miraculously, and they're doing blockchain mining, and there's a lot of interest. And like I told you this morning, there's a company that wants to buy 300 GPUs.
And is that data, like, what company is that? Who the hell, I mean, the only reason why a company would want to buy 300 ASIC miners is because they have the computing power, they're purchasing the computing power because they have the storage for those actual hard devices, but also the electricity, or if the I think on one of the podcasts I contacted the Tennessee Valley Authority, and I wanted to use the hydroelectric power coming out of the dam in East Tennessee for cryptocurrency mining. I'm sure the state government or board had no idea what the hell I was talking about. But in order to order that amount of ASIC miners, you have to have, like, what company is that? Is it a data company? Is it just...
Well, I can't tell you the name.
Yeah, can't tell the name.
But what do they do?
But
like, what do they do?
they're. I have no idea. I know they have $350,000 to invest.
Do they want to get in on cryptocurrency, digital asset mining? I would assume.
That's what they want to do.
So what's your take on that space in regards to big data? Because that's a lot of data as well. I mean, you're doing algorithmic mining to create digital assets. I mean, what kind of data does that take? Or is that being stored or transferred? How does that work? Do you know?
I don't.
Okay.
Well, that data,
I don't know either.
all that data is being stored on blockchain, and that's distributed across every node in the network.
Well, you're talking about transactions.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking about
The miners.
There has to be data, right? There has to be data.
I think he's mentioning just data.
So
in general.
Yeah. So that's the thing is data. I mean, so did you ever watch Silicon Valley?
Yes.
The HBO show, right? Phenomenal show. Is that possible, the Internet of Things, to store data on all devices?
Yep.
Really? Because when they were doing that, I was like, no, it's not possible.
No, it's completely possible.
Whoa! Now, is that a new concept to a lot of people?
I think is that not blockchain? Distributed ledger technology.
It was absolutely blockchain. Yeah, of course. I mean, that's what it was, because you're distributing it over all the spaces of, like, individual. Right. You're giving power to the individuals. They get paid. Right, I think people, if they housed any kind of data, they get money for that.
Here's one of the cons I do see, though, and please feel free to argue this point. One of the biggest, you look at the pros and cons, one of the biggest faults of blockchain is that the responsibility of that data falls back onto the operator of that specific node. So if it's your own personal information that you're in charge of, and you're sharing that across the blockchain, and you lose your private keys or whatever it is, there's not a single point of failure. That can be a positive and a negative, because now the onus is back on you. So with data centers, it's almost like there's an insurance element to it. I'm sure there is insurance on data.
Oh, positive.
But I'm saying, hey, Scott, I'm hiring. How do you say your company's name again?
Consolidated
data. I'm hiring.
You have to do it slow.
I'm hiring Consolidated Data, and I'm going to say, Scott, I'm having a shitload of data. I want you to store it and secure it over there. Boom, that is on you. But if you use the blockchain or integrate the blockchain, it's the end user who's responsible for that data.
So you're saying that's a con?
Well,
yeah.
That's actually a really good point, because if you and I are going to do, the three of us, we do business together. And I say, I'm going to take your information, we're going to share, account information from banks. And I've got your routing number, I've got your account number. And then if I want to go and say, let's go do business internationally, everybody has your account number and your routing number.
How does that happen?
You want money? How's it going to get there?
All right. So, yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay. So, yeah, if I'm going to receive funds coming in from Switzerland or whatever, that information is now being shared. So it's actually a fractalized type.
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a huge security.
Blockchain seems another solution. I'm just a huge blockchain.
I mean, you're bullish on blockchain. It's fine. It's okay. It's not a problem. What? So let me ask you this question, Brian, and if you know, Scott, storage, right? That was a crypto.
Yes.
STORJ.
Storage.
So tell me about them. Like, how do they integrate into this world that we're talking about?
So, Scott hit the nail on the head. This space is so fresh and new. It's coming up on 10 years old.
No way. Not even.
Blockchain technology? Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's been a while.
That's what, but I'm saying.
2008.
Yeah.
But it's just to really see it take off and
That's
not to
what
have some kids eating Doritos, drinking Mountain Dew in their mom's basement. To have it grow into what it is now, it's probably taken really 6 years. It's kind of in infancy stages for 4 years. But storage, so every blockchain wants to provide a solution.
Yeah.
And there's probably 75 to 150 blockchains that are, we provide the fastest microtransactions, and we are the financial disruptor, and we are this, and that. And it's just like, you are not the financial solution to what everyone's looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And all you really are is a pump and dump scheme for your ICO. There's other blockchains who are saying we're the new cloud. So store your data here. Now, I will say storage is probably one of the top 5 front runners for storage on the blockchain. Okay. But if you just think of the technology in itself, it's storing the transactions. So if I want to receive money from Switzerland, I don't have to share my information. It's public information in the first place, my public address. But again, I don't need Scott in order to do that transaction. But here's where I'm seeing a need for blockchain technology is bridging the gap and onboarding existing industries into blockchain. Right now, financial sector is number one disruptor. Okay, big banks are starting to adopt it. But you look at healthcare.
Healthcare's gonna be a big one.
Huge.
Real estate's gonna be massive.
Think of the stock market and the amount of information on the stock market.
There's a bit of info.
So I believe someone can really create a niche company over the next decade onto how to really move into the centralized database into the distributed database. And I really think that's how it's going
to. Okay, great. So how are the 3 of us going to do that?
None business.
I like the
and that takes us to a off-camera conversation. But Scott, please share with everyone, all of our listeners.
How can they get in contact with you?
How can they get, if someone does own a company that has a lot of data and they need some help with consulting, do you have a website? What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah, it's scott.johnson@consolidatedData.com, if you can say it.
Yeah, if you can say it. I'm a math guy, not an English guy. Scott Johnson at consolidateddata.com. Scott.Johnson@consolidateddata.com.
Boom, baby.
Boom!
You did it!
Wow.
Thanks so much for your
That's
time
a good
on the
way to
podcast.
sign
I
off.
really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Folks, thanks so much for subscribing, for watching. You are amazing. We will be back next week for your next podcast. Enjoy, love, live, learn. I'll see you later.